Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike.
I'm Ben.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ruben. And we're the hosts of the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast. You all ready for this episode?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Who are we covering today?
Amy Yeary.
I haven't heard of this case.
I haven't heard of it
Really?
either until now.
Yeah, me either.
When you Google the case, there's really,
That's not a lot.
yeah, there's not a lot of information. It's just
No.
basically the same stuff over and over again.
Have you heard of it, Mike?
No, sir.
Yeah, there's not much stuff about her.
Why?
But I wonder why there is. But that's a good question, though. Like,
I don't know.
Maybe it's
Why
not
isn't
that
it-
popular.
maybe. All right, so now it's time for the Idiot Criminal Club.
Welcome to the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast, Idiot Criminals Club. And here is today's Idiot Criminal Club inductee. Take it away, Mike.
A thief blabbed to his Uber driver about how he was on his way to commit a crime. Author James David Chuck, the freak on WRIF.com, posted November 8th, 2023. According to reports, a 41-year-old thief in Maine named Kevin Gray ordered a rideshare to a local TJ Maxx. Then he blabbed to the Uber driver how he was going to rob the place. The driver dropped him off and called the cops. The police identified the passenger as Gray, and in addition to being a suspect in the crime committed the previous day, they saw that he had warrants out. When they saw him exit the TJ Maxx and approach him, there was a small foot chase, but they caught him and he was arrested. Gray had several sets of pre-conviction bail conditions that barred him from several businesses in the area because, can you guess? Because of theft charges at those stores. Gray is facing charges in relation to theft as well as drug possession, warrants, and violations of conditions of release.
That was funny. He told the driver he was in a little trouble.
I wonder what possessed these guys to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, they think that they're not going to say anything or do anything.
World's dumbest
Yeah.
I'm
criminals.
surprised he
Right.
didn't tell them to wait for him. Be right back, my guy. I'm going to go and
Rob the place
rob
real
the
quick.
place.
I need a getaway car.
Okay.
You're my getaway.
That's true. How was he going to get away if he took an Uber over there?
I don't know.
Unless he was calling an Uber while
in
waiting.
the store.
But what was he going to rob for cash, or was he going to rob the clothes?
Well, that's a good question.
At TJ Maxx, yeah.
Probably
Clothes.
close.
And resell them, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
You know what? That's been going on a lot. Have you seen those videos of a bunch of people will go into the stores?
yeah.
I think there was
Oh,
one
there's-
Michael Kors,
They just grab it.
and they just start grabbing like what they can, right? And then they take off running. You know how some of them have those ink tabs that they have to take off before you, like when you purchase them? I just
Sure.
wonder what those who steal them, what they do with those tags, or how they take them off.
That's true.
Maybe I have like a special tool.
You think they buy one from online?
You better make your own.
How do you make your own?
I don't know. I've never stolen something. I don't know.
We're law-abiding citizens.
Yes.
So now we're going to talk about the murder of Amy Yeary.
Amy Marie Yeary was an American woman whose body was discovered on November 23rd, 2008, near Campbellsport in Fond du Lac County, Wisconsin. Her body remained unidentified for 13 years before investigators announced her identification via forensic genealogy and dental records on November 23rd, 2021.
So it was just 3 years.
I think she was missing since 2008.
2009?
Right, there you go.
Wow.
I was 8.
No, it's this year 2000. Well, no, her body was discovered in 2008. But
Yeah, it doesn't say when she went missing.
yeah, I didn't say when she went missing.
I see. And another case that got help from forensic genealogy.
Yeah, that's been helping a lot of cases, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder how long the DNA stays on the body,
I have no idea.
right?
Mhm.
So they can
Maybe for a while.
for a while, depending on how good they were.
Can they get DNA from your bones?
I think they can.
Right?
Really?
They've dug up corpses
Yeah.
and still gotten DNA.
Oh wow.
But I don't know how long it stays there.
You guys said,
Her face was reconstructed digitally by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in 2009 and again in 2018 to approximate her appearance, as decomposition ruled out visual identification. After the revised rendering was released, her remains were exhumed for additional forensic information.
so they did that. They reconstructed her digitally twice,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Because of the range correction.
So I found out 3 years later after they found her body and they did their testing. They went ahead and laid her to rest in 2011 at
Yeah.
Cattaraugus Ragus Cemetery.
Cataracts.
And they added a QR code on her tombstone so when people went to visit the cemetery and maybe look at her grave, they can scan it so they can learn about her case. I guess maybe in hopes,
Something like a
that someone might know something or,
solid, maybe.
or help them out in a way,
Yeah, that's interesting.
right?
To try to keep her case going.
Yeah, I think to
Yes.
keep going and so they can. I think at that time they still didn't know who she was
Yeah.
because I think that was when they exhumed her body. Because they exhumed her body for additional forensics. So I think they were still trying to see about her story, what happened to her, and
Yeah.
how she got there.
I see.
That's interesting. I've never heard of anybody putting a QR code on the.
That's all.
Yeah.
Me neither. That was the first time I heard about it.
Yep.
Isotope testing indicated she originated from New Mexico or Arizona and had lived in the Midwestern United States for about a year or less before her death. Genetic genealogy research also utilized as a way to locate potential relatives. Before her identification in 2021, Yeary was known as Fond du Lac County Jane Doe. She is believed to have been the victim of human trafficking.
So they think she was from New Mexico or Arizona
Yeah.
and lived in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I wonder how they got that.
I don't know. But how did they determine that she was a victim of human trafficking?
I'm not sure. Maybe we'll learn later.
All right. So let's talk about the discovery.
The remains of a young woman were found frozen in the creek by hunters on November 23, 2008, in Fond du Lac County, Wisconsin, near an abandoned farm. To extract the body, investigators had to chisel away the ice and scuba divers searched the bottom for evidence.
Wow.
Jeez. Gosh.
So there's a chisel to there?
Yeah, she was frozen there. So I guess you would say when they found her, it was already like wintertime,
Yeah.
right? Or at least snowing.
Yep. Another abandoned farm.
And another abandoned farm.
Mhm.
That's true.
See it now. Then somebody must have known about that place
Yep.
that whoever murdered her.
Mhm.
I wonder if it was multiple people or just one person.
I guess one, because they would have found more bodies when they found her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Some articles of clothing were found, including a strapless Zoe Beth brand black and pink top with a pink bow, determined to have come from Family Dollar, where it had been available in the spring of 2008. The underclothing that she wore, also from Family Dollar, was shipped only between July 1st and July 15th, 2008. The legs of her Angels brand jeans had been rolled up several turns, and an elastic ponytail holder was found on her wrist. No socks or shoes were found at the scene.
I forgot what website, but I read that the investigators had to make up a mannequin wearing her clothes just to see if anyone would recognize her clothing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess maybe instead of they can't really lay out their original clothes.
Yeah.
So they had to look for something
Oh, really?
just like that,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or somewhat like that.
They probably had to, yeah.
I wonder if that's when she went missing, though, between spring and summer of that year.
Right?
Because the clothes was available
At that time.
at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Initially, no jewelry was found until a penny-sized St. Benedict medal was found by divers. The medal may not have belonged to her, as examiners could not be certain how long it had been in the water. However, some reports state that a bracelet with several pendants on it was also found on the girl's remains.
So they can't really pinpoint that necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they can't determine if it belonged to her or not.
Like somebody just do it.
Yeah. That's why I always forget when they go look for evidence down in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other stuff there that,
Yeah, it's hard to like.
determine if it belonged to her or not.
Yeah.
Unless someone comes forward and say, like, yes, she,
She had that.
she had that, or she was always wearing this, or,
Yeah.
People lose stuff all the time in the ocean.
yeah, in the lakes and wherever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she did have a bracelet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her hair was shoulder length, light brown of different shades, possibly due to having been highlighted. Because items of her clothing were in various sizes, ascertaining her build was problematic. However, it was determined that she most likely weighed around 120 pounds.
Oh, so she was wearing different sizes of clothes.
I guess so.
Yeah. But I wonder why,
Well,
though.
I don't know.
I guess, everyone's built different.
I guess it would depend on brand, because, like,
Yeah.
large in some brands is medium in others.
Right. Yeah, that's what I heard too. That on some clothes would like They always do it with jeans. Like one brand, the size 14 won't fit someone who usually wears a size 14
Yeah.
because that's the way the brand made it. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the examination of her body.
Her cause of death was inconclusive. A severe decomposition of the body had removed all signs of possible violence from the remains. However, the manner of death is believed to be homicide, as suicide was eliminated as a possibility.
She must have been badly decomposed.
Yeah. I'm surprised it was frozen.
Right?
Oh, but then it's been years. I wonder how long she was missing until they found her.
That's what I was trying to figure out too.
We'll probably soon find out.
She was found in 2008,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Her clothes was from 2008, so I'm assuming she went missing that same year.
Yeah.
She probably did. She had to. Well, within that year, right? At
Yeah.
least. So maybe like a good few months
Yeah.
she was missing.
Mhm.
So she could have been missing anywhere from spring through the summer, so that's probably why her body was decomposed. Just because they found her in the ice doesn't mean
Yeah.
she was frozen the whole time.
The whole time, like, I'm pretty sure it's warm away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She might have been.
But since she was that bad decomposed, they couldn't determine what type of homicide happened.
Yeah.
Just for sure it wasn't suicide.
Yeah.
The location where the remains were found had also raised suspicion among authorities. Toxicology tests were conducted to see if any drugs or alcohol had been in her system, but the results were never released. Although the body was found in autumn, she had died in the summer, 2 to 4 months previously.
So yeah, she could have decomposed.
Yeah.
Because it was
Summer.
sometime.
They think she died in the summer.
I read that the autopsy determined that she had died between July and September.
Yeah.
So I bet it was between July and August, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how the summer heat, and everyone's summer heat's different. So
I'm pretty sure it was not
wait, so
that extreme.
she was just thrown in the creek there the whole time,
The lake, I guess. I guess so.
right?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
with the water and all that. Yeah, but I wonder, but they never said, right? Like if she was covered in anything, like in a tarp or
No.
There's most of their clothes.
just her clothes.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if well, yeah, I assumed if you're in the water for that long,
It's going to
Yeah.
be decomposed,
yeah, you're gonna decompose a little bit quicker. I'm assuming.
Yep.
especially in the heat.
Yeah. I wonder if the water's a little bit more warmer, or
Maybe.
right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it gets warm over there.
How deep
In
are
Wisconsin.
creeks? Are creeks real deep?
Not that deep.
Okay, it was deep enough for her body to be hitting there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, she must have been that deep if the hunters found her.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was
It was-
enough to freeze over the water.
Maybe she was like on the shore, like on the shoreline.
Maybe. Because if she was further in, they wouldn't have discovered her.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because of all the gas that built in her body, she just moved up. And that's how they were able to see her in the creek. Because how is it? I'm pretty sure there's been hunting going on there other than during the winter season.
Yeah. Good point.
But she was frozen. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's right.
Oh, she was
Remember
frozen.
they had to chisel her out.
They had to
of the
chisel
water?
her out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's strange.
I wonder how hunters would have seen her.
Right?
That's just amazing me how there's
Yeah.
not a lot of information
Yeah.
on the case itself, like the whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot more information has
Released.
been released or anything.
found.
Mm-hmm.
This was established by examining traces from insects that were found on the remains.
Oh. They got the info from the insects?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
wonder
like-
what kind of insects around her.
Yeah.
flies.
Maggots, flies?
Maybe.
I would
In the
say.
water, maybe? Or they certain worms. Worms, yeah.
I wonder if she did float up there
Right, I don't know.
and then froze.
Yeah, like maybe at some point before the creek froze over.
Or maybe like water bugs.
I have no idea what kind of bugs grow on a decomposed body.
I
Or
wanted to
just
say flies.
in water, no, guys.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
saying.
Maybe she kind of floated up.
But she floated, and like they had to chisel her out, so she wasn't out of the water.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe, well, no one says how deep this creek was and how she was found. Was she on her back? Was she?
Well,
She had cinder
doesn't
blocks
really
on
matter.
her. Because even have y'all watched Swamp Murders? I watched it on Tubi, and a good half of them would put cinder blocks to the,
Yeah.
you know, and have them go down.
Yeah,
But their bodies always wind up floating back up.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if the creek was, but they didn't say anything about her having anything tied to her.
No, they didn't.
So maybe it was like we said, an abandoned farm, but it was an area that no one really,
Or maybe she was on the shallow part of the creek.
and nobody found her until, I get it now.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
She was at the shallow part, but no one really saw her for those few months
Yeah,
because no one
maybe
was
like
out
it's an
there.
abandoned farm, so
Yeah.
nobody goes out there.
So when the water froze over, she was stuck in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it now. I see what you're saying.
She had an overbite and some fillings and dental sealants were found on the upper molars with no current cavities. The overbite was not described as extreme, but may have been noticeable, which could be a reliable feature depicted in her facial reconstruction. The estimated height was between 4'10" and 5'4", the victim being between 15 and 21 years old and weighing between 110 and 135 pounds at an average frame. Examiners believe she was either white or Hispanic, although the possibility that she was Native American or Asian cannot be ruled out. She also may have been biracial. Other physical characteristics included a healed rib fracture and being pigeon-toed or knock-kneed, which may have been noticeable when she walked, as her feet were slanted inward.
I wonder what knock-knee means.
I wonder if it's like another, like a better word to say than pigeon-toed.
Knock-knee is a condition in which the knees bend inward.
What does that mean?
Touch or knock like that.
Oh, like they touch each other?
So the shoe was rolled back?
I guess.
Like we kind of go inward.
Oh,
Not so much her feet, but her knees,
her knees.
which I've never heard of that.
I never heard of that too. Okay, so I wonder where that healed rib fracture was from. I wonder if that's how they determined she was part of human trafficking.
Maybe.
Maybe she got beat up by one of the customers and it fractured her rib,
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
right? But they couldn't really determine her race either.
Mm-hmm. How can you tell a race if she's decomposed?
I mean, that's
I wonder if like the bones.
Maybe. I have no idea.
That's weird,
That's-
right?
right. Oh yeah, maybe for some kind of DNA in the bones, they can determine
That might be the only way, because other than that, I don't know how you determine somebody's race
unless there's
if you
some-
can't really see.
Yeah. So we can pretty much conclude that she didn't have any kind of like skin on her, right?
I'm thinking.
Because she was
Yeah.
real badly decomposed already.
Maybe it's like different color.
Maybe.
Maybe it's still like, I'm pretty sure it's still turning a different color, right?
Oh, like maybe
Probably.
more of a
Decomposing.
yeah.
Her face probably wasn't recognizable either, because that's usually how most of the time you can tell a race.
Mm-hmm.
She had no face.
Maybe.
Maybe.
She also had spina bifida occulta, but may have been unaware of the condition. To obtain DNA information, her femur was transported to the University of Texas. Her DNA was entered into the National DNA Database, and dental records were created that can be compared to those of reported missing persons.
Did they ever say if anyone reported her missing? Obviously not, right? And they had a hard time. Well, they had a hard time figuring out who she was.
So she might have had spina bifida occulta.
Mhm.
So what's the occulta? I've never heard of it.
I think it has to do something with the spine.
Spine?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but I know there's different conditions of spina bifida.
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's probably why she could walk.
She could walk.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
Maybe that's why she had trouble with her knees.
Yeah, that might have been. But I've seen people with spina bifida and they just walk normal.
No.
Oh, it's a gap in between the vertebrae that babies get while they're inside the mom's stomach. It's the mildest and most common type of spina bifida, affecting about 1 in 10 people. And it's sometimes called hidden spina bifida because the spinal cord and nerves are usually normal and there's no opening in the back. In many cases, SBOC is so mild that it doesn't cause any problems and most people are unaware they have it, often only discovering it on an x-ray or for another reason. That's according to Google.
Well, she might have not known that she had it. Right?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about the investigation.
At least 200 leads have been explored in the effort to identify the victim. A computer-generated reconstruction was created from the school by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for mortuary photographs and a CT scan of the school that were submitted to the center. The reconstruction of the victim generated over 200 tips that did not produce solid leads, as the composite apparently resembled a large number of missing people.
Oh, wow.
I still wonder how they reconstruct the a face with just a skull, though.
That's weird.
I know.
Especially when it comes to the nose.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know what kind of nose a person has?
Have you ever had it straight? Was it straight?
Straight
Yeah,
or
like
like
bump on it?
hub or like with a little point at the end? And the eyes too. Like, how do you know?
Especially when you don't know race.
Yeah, because we all have our bones are all the same on our face as far as like when you see a skeleton.
And they had 200 tips go out or come in?
Yeah, they had 200 leads that have been explored to identify the victim. But
But then some of those are like bogus, right?
A lot of times they are.
yeah, but I guess they have to
So something they have to do.
go and investigate it regardless if it is or not, just to rule it out.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't really pinpoint exactly how she looked like or who she was. Not how she looked like, but who she was, because she resembled a large number of missing people.
Yeah,
So
that's
that must have been tough for them too.
Mm-hmm.
Former missing person Amanda Berry, one of several possible identities of the Jane Doe, was ruled out by DNA analysis. She was recovered alive in 2013.
Amanda Berry, is that the one in Cleveland?
Mhm. That's her and two other were
So
kidnapped.
they thought that was her body,
They
Yeah.
thought, they thought that maybe it
Wow.
could have been her.
but then they ruled that out.
Yeah.
Besides Amanda Berry, two other individuals who were eventually located were also ruled out for the case. Connie McAllister and Brittany Pert. McAllister, native of Wisconsin, was abducted at age 16 and taken to Mexico. She was eventually recovered alive after meeting a church missionary who reported the information to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Brittany Pert disappeared in July 2008 from Elkton, Maryland. Pert's remains were located and identified in December 2011. Her cause of death remains unreleased.
I also heard, or not heard, but read that it's not only with just them three, but including them,
Mm-hmm.
77 of missing persons were ruled out. That
They said that.
that couldn't be Amy Yeary.
Huh. 77.
77.
Now McAllister might have, because she was from Wisconsin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And they found Amy in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Fond du Lac.
And McAllister, she was a native of Wisconsin.
But she went okay.
Yeah. Was McAllister found alive or dead?
She was found alive.
Alive.
After
Oh, she was at a church missionary. Why is church missionary in quotations? They don't think she was there. She was really at a church. I wonder if she was part of a human trafficking thing,
They found her in Mexico, possibly.
right? And they just put it as a church.
That was a cult.
And the cult?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like that TikTok thing that's going on Netflix.
Yeah.
What is that show?
Huh?
That show?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
There's something about
What is
the
it?
Devil's Dance or something?
Yeah, they're saying that these girls that they
That's
have.
what the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jane Doe's body was buried in 2011 after an investigation turned cold. Television shows such as America's Most Wanted broadcast the case to possibly reveal new clues. A Facebook page was also created to generate leads for the case.
Ah, you see, so that was when they buried her in that cemetery with the QR code because they couldn't.
Identifier.
Yeah, they weren't getting any kind of like leads that.
Snail.
So they gave her. I wonder if they do that with all Jane Does though, or John Does if they can't.
I don't know.
That's the first I've ever heard of a QR code being used.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty smart.
On April 23, 2018, a revised reconstruction was released, and authorities announced that the victim would be exhumed for isotope testing and DNA phenotyping to determine geographical locations where she may have lived and to develop a clear estimation of her ethnicity and physical characteristics. Genetic genealogy credited with identifying a suspect in the Golden State Killer case would also be used to locate individuals biologically related to the victim.
So there's like new stuff that they can use to determine her race.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
In August 2018, the results of an isotopic analysis performed by Utah's Isoforensics Laboratory were released. They indicated that the Jane Doe had likely spent most of her life in the southwestern United States, possibly in Arizona or New Mexico.
That's weird. I think she was from Illinois.
Yeah,
Remember her ancestors?
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they're saying they found her in Wisconsin, but they feel like she lived more in the
And New Mexico.
New Mexico, Arizona area.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another reason they feel she was sex trafficked.
Maybe.
She lived in the Midwest, perhaps in southwestern Wisconsin, northern Iowa, or southern Minnesota, for less than a year preceding her death. Investigators speculated that her case was related to the so-called West Mesa murders, but this was later ruled out.
But what's the West Mesa murders?
Gold collector.
They were the ones, yeah.
Bone collectors?
Yeah, they're finding bodies, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Desert in Mexico.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Albuquerque.
Yeah.
But they have been there for a while.
Were they able to determine any identification on any of them?
Yeah.
I think so.
Most of them, but yeah.
They haven't found the killer out there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's another topic.
The case.
Another case.
Yeah, we should cover that one. Now we're going to talk about her identification.
Biological samples were sent to Astria Forensics in Santa Cruz, California, where a DNA profile was successfully generated for the purpose of the investigative genetic genealogy. On November 28, 2021, 13 years to the date of the discovery of her remains, it was announced that Yeary was positively identified via genetic genealogy conducted by Barbara Ray Venter.
So they finally identified her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Almost how many years?
13.
13.
Wow. Her family didn't send her DNA
Well,
to these
see,
databases?
that's what I was wondering myself. Like, why isn't anyone looking for her as to say, like, you know,
Yeah.
Why is it
unless
taking?
if she reported to the local police or if they,
I don't know.
or maybe she just has, because the thing of it is, no one knows a lot about her as far as her characteristics,
Oh, yeah.
as to say, like, oh, she was always just running away or she was always taking off or.
How do missing cases work? When the parent
Reports of missing.
reports a missing, do they give DNA to databases? Or they're not really?
I don't know, but you would think that they should now.
Should, right? Yeah.
That should be a requirement.
You just give them their information, that their height, their weight,
Yeah,
color
but
of hair, eye color.
if you can, I would try to give a toothbrush, comb, somewhere they can get DNA from.
I think maybe they don't do that until they find them,
That doesn't
Dead?
make sense.
unless they find
yeah.
them dead. Because
Oh,
if
yeah.
they're alive, I mean, you know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah. Well, just in case they find a body.
Yeah.
They're
Describing them?
So it doesn't take years to identify them.
Mm-hmm.
The identification was confirmed with comparisons of DNA from her mother, sister, and dental x-rays. Officials said Yeary was a victim of sex trafficking and would have been 18 years old when she died in 2008.
I wonder how they decided that she was sex trafficked.
I've been wondering that myself. How do you determine if? I wonder if there's like some kind of scarring on the bones in some way
That or some kind of evidence to
kind of prove
determine
that.
that.
Determine, yeah.
There has to be some kind of evidence for them to just. I don't think they would just say that.
Right? So she was 18 when she disappeared?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the murder.
Murdered when she was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also learned she spent time in Milwaukee, Chicago, and Beloit in the weeks preceding her death. While speaking with Yeary's mother, detectives learned that Yeary made a phone call to her mother in northern Illinois in 2008, asking for a ride home from Beloit. Her mother was unable to accommodate that request at the time. Yeary was never heard from by her family again.
Wow.
Oh, man. What are the mom feels?
I know. Can you imagine? But like all that time you hadn't heard from her. I mean, was she even looking? Or did she think like, okay, she just, like I'm saying, like I'm wondering if Amy had issues to where she was just they were used to her doing that. Just no one hears from her for a while until she pops up or she needs something or,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm wondering if that was the case, then they just assumed that she was just,
I wonder if she was traveling alone or with friends.
or maybe at that time she was
I guess she was
kidnapped because they found her, they determined she was in 3 different cities and the last one being Beloit.
Beloit.
So I'm wondering if prior to that she got herself into some kind of trouble with somebody,
Sex trafficking.
sex trafficking. And at that time she found a way out and that's why she called her mom for help and they caught her.
But I wonder if her mother ever did report her missing, because why wouldn't she have ever said, "Hey, I heard from her,
Right?
and she's over here."
Mm-hmm.
But I
That's
wonder
sad.
when they discovered the body if they made it national news though.
I didn't hear about it.
Or at least local news,
More like local.
right?
Yeah. Around the area.
In the area there. but she didn't assume anything.
Yeah. I feel like if she was reported missing and she hears from her, she should have gone to the cops and they would have helped her
Yeah.
get her.
Well, maybe she wasn't missing at that time when she called.
All true.
You know what I mean?
So she was just traveling.
That's what I'm thinking.
You think maybe she went like on a road trip with friends and they stopped in Beloit and she just didn't want to be there no more and she called, but then when her mom say like, well, she was on a road trip with friends,
yeah.
and she called wanting a
So
ride
she
to come
probably
back.
just went on her own,
Could be.
right?
Are all those cities near Wisconsin?
Yeah, Illinois is right underneath Wisconsin.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering how far those cities were.
Oh, like
You know, I'm trying
towns,
to get at, the towns, like,
Yeah.
to say, like, maybe she took buses to go look at different things or something on her own.
I don't think it's that far from Chicago. No, I don't know where Beloit is. It was north of Chicago, right? I never read it was north of Chicago.
I wonder if when her mom couldn't get her, she decided to hitchhike or something.
That's true.
And whoever picked her up is the one who.
Well, I don't have to speculate anything, but was she prostitute?
Maybe.
Could be.
That got caught up in that business?
Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe she never went missing. Maybe she just left.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to come home.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that they were very tight-lipped on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
As far as how she was as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was the family asking for privacy.
Yeah.
But like them not releasing the toxology report, I'm wondering if maybe she didn't have any in her system, so it wasn't necessarily important, to announce it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there was, but you would think they would say like.
That's true.
And they never determined either on how she was murdered. Just that she was murdered, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one knows if she was stabbed, shot.
I don't think they were able to determine that because decomposition.
Right?
What do y'all think about the case?
It was interesting.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I feel bad for the mom.
Yeah, I would definitely feel bad for the mom. I bet she goes through times where she's just like, if I would just gone or sent someone to go get her for me.
Mm-hmm.
At least that, if she couldn't do it herself. Like, let me see if I can get anyone to go get you.
Why didn't I try?
Yeah.
I bet you she does.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think also, too, even if she was able to send anyone, who's to say from the time she's waiting for that person and then until they get there,
You just never know. Yeah.
just never know if she would have been abducted either way, if she was abducted.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm trying to get at? I wonder if she was being followed.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Right?
All right. Well, that's it for this case.
Very interesting case.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. Hope you all enjoyed this episode of the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify or wherever you listen to our podcasts. And please follow us, the 4 True Crime Idiots podcast, on all of our social media platforms. All of the links will be in the description. Until the next episode,
Stay vigilant.
Stay safe.
Beware of your surroundings.
Bye.
Bye.